Hey, so today I want to take a look at Halo and specifically take a look at Chill Out, which is one of my favorite maps from the original Halo. Um, so this is playing on the PC version of Halo, but for those who didn't play the game originally, there are a couple differences. But also, like, obviously this is a first-person shooter, but there are a couple things about Halo that are pretty weird now by kind of modern FPS conventions. So one thing is the movement. This is mainly on PC. The movement's a bit slippery. On console, it'd obviously be with the analog stick, and you'd have a little bit more control over how fast you're moving. And I think the PC solution for that is to make it very acceleration based. But one of the things about Halo is that you've got this really floaty jump, and you have very little air control. So if I try and jump in a straight line and then correct to the side while I'm midair, it's a very small amount of air control. There's no like strafe jumping or something like that to change it. So basically, once I commit in a direction with the jump, I'm going to end up where I was going, which is very different from the way it works in Quake and the way it works in Unreal Tournament. We also have a melee, which is pretty slow, but it's very powerful, and a melee an enemy's back is an instant kill. Also, a very narrow FOV. I think we're at 75. If you were playing this split screen on console, on like a CRT, then the FOV got even narrower than that. Like, I think if you had a 4-player split screen going on, your FOV would be down to like 40 or 50 FOV, so it was pretty ridiculous. You have 2 weapon slots. By default, especially in competitive modes, you have the AR on spawn. So the first thing you do is you switch to your pistol, which is a good full second animation there. You also have grenades, which you can see indicator for in the top left, and you've got frag grenades, which have basically this column of damage that are basically instant kill if you're within that column, and very high damage if you're in kind of a wider radius of it. And there are also plasma grenades, which can stick to enemies. It's an instant kill if you stick them, but if it doesn't stick, it's not an instant kill. One of the main benefits of plasma grenades is that you can throw them against walls and they'll just drop straight down rather than bouncing. So like here, if I throw a frag grenade, it bounces all the way around that corner. And maybe that's what I want it to do, maybe it's not, but like if I want to deny somebody from even going in this hallway, a plasma grenade can hit the wall, plop down, and work much better, kind of like the way a Molotov works in Counter-Strike. But I think that's most of the basics of the way Halo works as an FPS. I guess one thing more is that we've got kind of this dual health system. If you look on the top right, we've got shield, which is the top bar, and then we've got these health chunks, which is the lower bar. So if I throw a grenade here and don't die from it, I'm now at no shield, and I lost a couple chunks of health. It takes a couple seconds for the shield to start refilling again, and the health doesn't refill. So there are health packs around the map which you can pick up to restore health. So it's a weird combination of this pressure system, where the way to kill players is to sustain damage, to drop their shields and then burst through their health. But there's also the element of attrition with the more traditional health bar system. And Halo 2 got rid of the health bars. I think that's it's just been a shield system for most of the game since. I think Halo Reach brought back the health bars, which was kind of a weird callback. But the function of this is that a lot of the fighting in Halo, you've got the slow move speed, you've got these slow jumps, and you've got a replenishing shield. So basically what happens is you get these fights like this, where if I poke this guy and we duck back into cover, we're both going to reset to full health, and the only thing that we've lost is a little bit of ammo. So to actually win this fight from my position to enemy position over there is to have that sustained damage. And in casual play, that means chase them down and have a longer engagement where they can't break line of sight. or throw a grenade behind them so that they have to push forward, and then hopefully win your shots. But in more competitive matches where you've got effective team play going, it means that coordinating your shots is really important, because if I step out here and I've got a 1v1, I've got a pretty good chance there. But if I step out here and it's a 2v1 and they're both shooting at me, my best hope is maybe getting a trade with one of them. There's no way I'm going to win that 1v2 if they're both coordinating their shots. I guess one other note is that once the shields are down, headshots are a thing. When the shields are up, headshots basically do more shield damage, but they don't kill. So I believe with the pistol, it's a three perfect headshots. The first two drop the shield. The third one, when they don't have a shield, is an instant kill, which makes the pistol one of the most powerful weapons, aside from the actual power weapons in the map. Makes it one of the most powerful weapons in the game. Yeah, that's kind of the basics. So now let's take a tour of Chill Out. So where we spawned here, this is kind of lower pink room, or sometimes called orange room to just differentiate it from the pink room. The center of the map here, this is bottom mid. It's also sometimes called broken bridges because you've got this bridge crossing between the spiral room up here and top pink room up here. You've got these kind of broken bridge chunks. Bottom mid is kind of a spot you don't want to be because you're pretty exposed out here to a lot of different angles. And there's not really any benefit to being down here. There is a health pack around one of these corners. And on the PC version, they added a flamethrower that shouldn't be here, but yeah, just ignore the flamethrower. I think that came with the Gearbox version on the PC. This is kind of the main room that connects a lot of the spaces. And then crossing up here, we've got the arches as kind of a threshold, and up here is window. And this is called Rocket Room, and this is the ramps in Rocket Room. Obviously from here we can go back to orange, or we can go down the kind of low spiral to the shotgun room, which we'll visit in a second. But we've got this ramp, and this is a pretty good position. It's pretty vulnerable to grenades, so it's easy to bank the frag grenades into this corner. But you've got some good sight lines here, and it's hard for somebody pushing this corner because they have to watch a couple different angles at once. But the main benefit of this room is that there's a rocket launcher up here. Oh, if I timed my jumps correctly. Yeah, so the reason why it's called Rocket Room is because of the rockets. And from this position, you can be kind of a camper with the rocket launcher and blow anybody up in this hallway. You also have some pretty good sight lines here, but it's also a lot of sight lines that if you don't have control over pink side, you're going to get shot in the back and not really know where it's coming from. There's not a lot of benefit to being up here. It's just kind of more of the same. Sometimes it's useful to be up in window, but it's really exposed, so it's a bit more if you want to catch people from an angle they don't anticipate. Let's go ahead and go to the shotgun room. So we got this nice little mini spiral. It's like a 45-degree spiral. It's kind of nice. Into this smaller room, which is the shotgun room, because there's a shotgun on this pedestal here. And it's kind of an interesting setup where you have these, it's like 1.5 meter high cover, where it's like just my head that would be visible above this. But then this one with basically the opposite situation, where I can't see anything, but my feet are exposed to somebody who's crouching, and I can just totally throw a grenade underneath this. So it's a really interesting setup here. And also I think this is where the flag spawns in CTF mode. This isn't really a map for CTF, but yeah. Most of the original Halo maps were built with multiple game modes in mind. I forget what the plan was for Chill Out, but the main reason to go to Shotgun Room is that you have the overshield, and this connects to bottom mid. Overshield's really powerful, and I'll get back to that in a minute. But you also have a ramp up here. This window doesn't really give you any benefit, except you can throw grenades without worrying about the damage that you're going to take from them. And then we've got the big spiral, and big spiral is a pretty strong position. Basically, if you're in shotgun, you want to be at the spiral, because it gives you the sight line over to the pink room, and also lets you control the kind of small ramp, small spiral over here. Alright, so here we've got the top bridge. The two bridges are at a slightly different height, which is kind of a weird thing, but it makes it so that this jump across from spiral side to the pink room is easier than going this way. Yeah, as I just demonstrated by missing my jump. But pink room is kind of the last spot of the map that we haven't talked about yet, and this is where the active camo spawns. I'll go ahead and pick that up now. Active camo is pretty self-explanatory. You're invisible. When you've got active camo, there's like a little bit of distortion around you, so you can still kind of be picked out. If you're shooting, you briefly flash visible, but you're invisible enough that you can pull off some pretty tricky stuff. The other thing with top pink is that you've got a sniper rifle. I'll go ahead and swap rockets for that. And this sniper position has a good view on the overshield. From this angle, you can't stop them from picking up the overshield unless they're coming from bottom mid, but you can get the information that they've picked it up, or information that overshields spawned. You also have a teleport, and this view down at orange. It's not really a good view, but it's again one of those kind of information views. You can see if somebody's going into rockets, and then you get top rocket. So again with the grenades, oh there's the plasmas. So the plasmas bounce a little bit, but it's a pretty simple drop there. Also, something that comes up in competitive play is the weapons have physics. So you can get really good with the grenades. I am not good with grenades, but you can get really good with them, and basically you never actually need to go to that rocket launcher spawn. You can just grenade it to yourself. And the same thing with the power-ups and the sniper rifle. But I guess at this point the next thing to cover is the teleports. So from top pink, this is Pink Hall that we're in right now. This one will take us to Shotgun Room on the far side of the map. This is a pretty exposed teleport because there could be people at a lot of different angles in this room. So really you only want to take this teleport if you have the active camo, and if you know the enemies are engaged on spiral and down here and you want to get into their back line. Then that becomes an option. There's also this teleport here, and this is kind of a safety, this is kind of an escape from bottom mid, because bottom mid is, like if I've got to cross from overshield to the orange room there, that's a long path, and I've got this like geo in my way that like I can kind of get stuck on. Or like if I do one of these jumps over the geo, then I've got this really predictable arc where it's easy to land a couple headshots. I'm just going to die crossing this, right? So you've got these pillars that you can duck around and get these kind of cheeky sight lines out of, and then hop into a teleport. Or, if you're pushing across, and again, miss my jump on that. If you're pushing across from spiral to the pink room, and you're getting too much pressure from here, you can drop off to the side behind the pillar, wait for your teammates to coordinate shots, and then push in through here, and maybe catch them off guard on the bridge, or catch them off guard up here. But again, this teleport's still pretty exposed, playing casually, it's pretty common to have somebody just camping this teleport back here, waiting for somebody to hop through, and then just whack them in the back instantly. So there's one teleport left, and it's probably the least useful of the teleports on the map. That's this one here. This one teleports to the top bridge, which is, it's so exposed. You can get shot from here. You can't see anybody there because of your head height, but they can see your feet for sure. And they've got a sniper rifle, probably. There'll be guys on the ramp. If you step forward, there might be guys on rockets. Definitely guys down in the rocket room. And good chance that if you go through that teleport without having control of the shotgun side of the map, there'll be somebody already watching this angle, and they'll just see you pop up here, and then you're just dead. So I think the interesting thing about the map is it's very enclosed, it's very small scale, compared to something like Blood Gulch, which is really open spaces. It's really easy to break line of sight on enemies here, or compared to Hang'em High, which is another map with these really open sight lines. It's really easy, like if I'm having a 1v1 here, either of us can just break off that engagement and fight another day. And that's not really possible on Hang'em High or Blood Gulch, where the sightlines are so open that if you see somebody on the far side of the map, you can just take that engagement. It also means that it's a little bit harder to navigate the map. It's a little bit more confusing. One of the strengths of Chill Out is that the central rooms here are, like, there's this really strong symmetry to bottom mid, and that carries through a little bit in the shape of, like it's a symmetrical room with asymmetrical details within the room, right? So there's this kind of strong axis dividing the map in half, and I think that helps with reading it, but it is still a more confusing map than something like Blood Gulch or Hang'em High, which you can kind of read the whole thing in a single scan. The thing that's really interesting to me is that this is in Quake, like Quake 3 Arena level design. There's this idea of a 3 atrium layout, where you have basically a central atrium, and then I don't know if it'd be atriums, atria. You've got different arenas off to the sides of that. So like DM6 campgrounds or camping ground is a classic 3 atrium setup. Something like Arrow Walk is also a 3 atrium setup. And basically you've got one atrium here that makes up the bottom of Rocket Room and bottom mid. And you've got Shotgun Room on the other side as kind of your second atrium. And you've got the Pink Room on the other side as your third atrium. And you do have some connective tissue with like Orange Room here, and kind of the halls in the bottom and spiral and stuff like that. But it makes it pretty easy to think about in terms of these 3 main spaces that the map is built up out of. Now, as a casual player, like the way I played this game in 2001 when it came out, is that I would just run around the map chasing kills, basically, and playing local because it didn't have online multiplayer. You just run around. Oh, I see an enemy, I'm going to chase him. Oh, look, there's a power-up, I'm going to grab it. Oh, there's another enemy, I'm going to chase him. And just do that on repeat forever. And that meant a lot of pushing corners that I shouldn't have and taking fights that I shouldn't have. And I think it's fine because, in 2001, Halo was really novel just in terms of its mechanics. Running and jumping and shooting was all this kind of fresh and exciting thing. So a lot of the mastery was about the mechanics, and just like actually lining up the crosshair and getting the shot was the exciting part of Halo. The competitive wasn't really in our minds at that time. But playing a lot of Halo over the years, I think when like the Master Chief Collection came out and Halo 1 became a thing you could play online, I put a whole bunch of hours into it. This would be like 2014, 2015, something like that. And the way to play Halo competitively, or at least Halo 1 competitively, is with duos. So you've got two teams of two fighting for map control, and the rules are still Slayer. It's still a kill equals a point, and you get a set number of kills, usually like 25 or 50, to win the match. But the way that you actually achieve that is with map control and item control. So on a map like Chill Out, that means controlling the overshield, controlling active camo, controlling the rockets, and controlling the sniper rifle. So overshield is the most important thing. Like, active camo doesn't increase your health, doesn't reset your shields, doesn't make you harder to kill. It just makes it harder to spot. And on CRTs, on 4 players split screen, that was a really powerful thing. But with modern, like I'm viewing this on a LCD screen, the active camo isn't as powerful as it originally was. But the active camo is really interesting because it gives you basically 2 additional shield bars on top of your base shield bar, and also gives you some iframes. So if I throw a grenade here, I didn't take any damage from that grenade because during the time that the shield was charging up, I'm invincible. So the shield is really powerful. There's also a weird bug, I think this is only a PC thing, where, because I haven't picked up an overshield in a long time, it like stacked 2 there. There are some weird things about the PC version of this. But because I still have an overshield, I can't pick up another one. But now I've burned my shield so I can pick it up. And the idea is that there's supposed to be really consistent timings that you can control with the overshield and active camo and the rocket launcher. So that means often what you do is you hold top pink, which is a really strong position, and you try and push the enemy team into the shotgun room. The shotgun room has the overshield closest to them, so they can use that to break out of that space. But we have the active camo, which we can use to go through the teleport, get into the backline. We can also just hold the angles. So if they're trying to control Spiral, we can deny that with grenades, or just winning our shots here. You hit them twice and they're pretty close to dead. You can break cover and your teammate can finish them off from top rockets over here. Or if they try and push low Spiral, I can't really do a lot from here. I can try and get across to here, but still not great. But I can still throw some grenades, try and deny them from crossing the space. And like, if they gain that foothold in here, that's not really that advantageous, because the things they want with rockets are the rockets and to have the ramp control, which means crossing this space. So if my teammate can get them 2-shot here, then I can finish them off as they cross. And basically, the strong side of the map is pink room and top rockets, because we get the sniper rifle, we get the information, we can push into the backline, we have options if we want to. Let's see if I can get this grenade. Oh, that's not a good one. Yes! No! It was close. But yeah, basically you want to push the enemy into the shotgun room and trap them there. And in competitive play, that's really rare it's going to happen, because the other team is hopefully as good as you are, if not better, and they'll be able to time this overshield pickup and either snatch it or frag it closer to themselves so that it's like right here instead of in that sniper sight line. And then they can use the overshield to push mid without dying. And by the time they get here, they might still have some overshield left if the 2 players couldn't coordinate their shots. And now maybe we can win this fight. And that means that we've got pink room control. There are also so many cheeky grenade spots it can do. So like if I'm pushing up from the low spiral here, there are grenades I can throw. I'm out of practice and I don't know the exact sight lens anymore, but there are grenades you can throw. Yes, that was too high. To basically force this player to either fall back or force them out across the bridge. So that if I'm here, and we know we've got enemy watching top rockets and rocket ramp, then if I frag this right, nope, very wrong. I can basically push them back, so I only have to worry about this guy and don't have to worry about this guy. And it makes it a little bit easier to push this ramp. And also at this point, then I can drop to this teleport and try and follow up on this on the fight across bridges. Cool. So I think that that explains kind of the competitive way of playing this map. The interesting thing to me is that the way of playing it casually and the way of playing it competitively are so different that they're kind of incompatible. If you just hop into matchmaking, like the way Halo worked originally was local games and LAN parties and custom games. So it was a lot of custom rules. And whoever was hosting the event or setting up the games usually decided, hey, this is fair game, or hey, let's not use the rocket launcher because you're too good with it. Those kind of house rules. But when you have online matchmaking, that isn't really the case. And what happens instead is that the players that have better communication and better coordination are able to set the pace. So if I'm just in chill out matchmaking, I'm trying to hang out with my friends, have a chill time, as the map name suggests I should. But the other players are really coordinated. They've got their timings down. They're controlling rocket launchers and overshield and even active camo and sniper. We're basically going to be spawn trapped the whole game. We're just going to be fuel for their score. And that's not really a fun experience. And I think it's something that Halo has struggled with a little bit. But it's also a really interesting kind of problem to think about in this the separation between competitive and a lot of other different player motivations. But yeah, that's Chill Out as one of my favorite maps. It's a very strange map, but I hope you all enjoyed the tour.